How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and Auto Camp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
My name is Happy Gilmore. I haven't swung a club in years.
You know what you got to do.
Grip it and rip it.
Or... Oh, now that is some Happy Gilmore.
Everyone is talking about the comeback kid, Happy Gilmore.
Happy Knee.
Yeah, baby.
Happy Gilmore 2, only on Netflix July 25th. Rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13.
Welcome to another Find the Edge production for the Premier League Cricket Club. Connecting players and coaches, clubs and leagues, volunteers and supporters alike, you're in the right place for the best of the 33 ECB Premier Leagues and the 20 NCCA counties, bringing you the stories, the stats and the standout performances that make this game great. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to both our Premier League and NCCA shows so you don't miss any episodes. Now, shall we get stuck in? So welcome everybody to the National Counties Cricket Show, and as we come to the end of one competition, 50 over trophy won last week by Dorset in a fabulous final over at Chester Boughton Hall beating Shropshire, we start the Championship. And let's be brutal about this. This is the one that 99.9% of the players are really looking forward to. There's not a single NCCA player I've spoken to in the last couple of years, when you ask them the question, red ball, white ball, which one, the 3-day comp, 4-day in the final, is the one they all want to win. And it just shows you that you don't have to be an old fart like me. These youngsters still want to go after this red ball competition. So it's absolute delight to be joined by one of the coaches of the current joint champions. Berkshire drew with Staffordshire in the final at West Bromwich Dartmouth last season, and Berkshire have gone through a change. You know, Tom Lambert's gone, but we've got joined by the new Berkshire coach, but everybody at Berkshire bloody well knew him, to say the least, Mr. Bjorn Mordt. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good afternoon. Lovely to see you, Ian.
Absolutely. As I say jokingly, everybody knew you. It's not an understatement. I mean, you are, since you came over to the UK all those many years ago, Berkshire and around that patch, that has been that's your game, isn't it, basically?
Yeah, I mean, I think I started playing in Berkshire 2003, made my debut then, and I've just, yeah, Tom Lambert said it a lot of times, like, if you cut us, through the middle, we both bleed Berkshire green. So I love Berkshire, always have done, obviously captained them, and it's a real honour now to coach them, and also to be in charge of a team that is as exciting as what I've got is wonderful, and a testament obviously to Tom, my predecessor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've had some great success over the last few years, and I would personally say it actually goes back to, was it 2011 when you won it? And it was sort of from then onwards, it's just started to pick up, and the whole sort of, what would you call it, the organisation has just reached new levels in the last 5 years then, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we won the 3-day or the 4-day comp in 2008, which was the first time in 53 years, so that was huge. And then we won the 1-day comp at Lords in 2011, which was my last trophy that I won as a player. And then obviously Tom came in as coach in 2013, and I think the strength of Berkshire Cricket is down to our pathway system. We've got an incredible pathway system, amazing youngsters. Our Neil Robinson, who runs our pathway, is unbelievable. And we are excited about the 3-day comp because we're going to blood a few more of our youngsters.
Oh, I've got to ask the obvious question. Is that because one or two of the boys are getting a bit older as well now?
No, well, actually, it's because we've probably done a decent job with them. So I think for the Devon game, Ben Salter will be with Hampshire Twos. right? And he is a youngster, so we need to find a replacement for him. And Johnny Connell's obviously been doing quite well for Essex too, so we'll be looking for someone up at the top of the order, which then it's great for us because it allows us to bring in some exciting kids into the frame.
Yeah, and it's the chicken and egg situation in NCCA cricket, isn't it? That you are the inverted commas development pathway to a lot of these twos and first class counties, and you just get these players almost taken away because you just can't use them.
Yeah, but I mean, I had an interview as I took the reins, and as wonderful it will be to win trophies this year, and I'm super happy that Dorset won the 50 over comp. They beat us in the semi-final and were well-deserved winners of that semi. From my point of view, I would love to be able to get some of these youngsters into sort of the pro game. We've got a wonderful batch of guys, and as a coach, you want these guys to get better. You want them to achieve their dreams, and that's what I think is fantastic. So if we can win some trophies doing it, wonderful. But from my point of view, we can just push these guys forward to achieve their dreams. I mean, we had Eddie Campion as 12th man for England this last test series. It was just nice to see him running out at Lords, and with England winning. So that's my remit, and that's what I want to do.
Absolutely. You sound almost identical to a podcast I was listening to earlier today, and Freddie Flintoff talking about the work that he's been doing with the England Lions, the England 19s. And it's almost coaching's become like a directional type thing, isn't it now? It's not telling them what to do, how to do it, and be all very technical. It's actually just guiding these guys in the right direction.
100%. I mean, from my point of view, like technically these guys are superb, and there might be some deficiencies, but they... if you look at the test players, they've all got deficiencies. It's actually how they deal with them. And that 6 inches between your ears is the difference between being a great cricketer and a club cricketer.
Yeah.
So it's working on that and allowing those guys to prosper under pressure. And if you can get into that situation where we can work harder on that, then when they do find themselves, and we all know cricket is a tough game, and generally you don't score hundreds every weekend. So it's dealing with adversity and coming back from it.
Absolutely. I was at Derbyshire a few years ago doing some work there. I remember watching Mickey Arthur leading one of his first coaching sessions there. And it was so apparent that he wasn't going to pick a ball up once. He wasn't going to pick a bat up once. He was doing absolutely nothing but walking around individual players. And it was just talking, as you say, it's those 6 inches between the ears. Yeah,
100%. And I think... if you can get that right as a coach, then you will make your team better and you'll make those individuals better. Listen, everyone fails, and it's about how we react to those failures and how we improve from that. I've got no problem losing. Listen, and that some people might laugh at that because I'm the worst loser there is. But if you lose and you learn from it and get better from it, then it's actually a positive experience.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Now, you've come to a side, though, as you say, that haven't done much losing in the past few years. They've been incredibly successful. I've got to look back at that semi-final against Dorset. How tough was that one to take in the end? Because that was a tough game. I watched the last hour on the stream, and that was a battle. There's no two ways about it.
Well, you know what I loved about it? Like, we were probably 30 runs short of a total that we would have been happy with.
Yeah.
But Dorset were cruising, and what I said to my guys afterwards was the fact that we made them fight tooth and nail to get over the line. Like, we didn't roll over. I think they were 200 for 2, chasing 270, and we just didn't give up. And for me, that shows me that that team is, I call them street fighters. Like, they weren't going to give that up, and they just kept going. And fair play to Dorset, because we didn't give it to them. They had to work their socks off, and Eklund's innings was quite incredible, and you can see why he's contracted. And and it was a good lesson for our guys, for next time when we're in that situation. And I think getting hurt like that has inspired us to do well in the T20 comp. We unfortunately lost 4 points just to administrative error, and then I set the boys a task of winning 4 from 4 for our last 4 so that we could qualify.
Yeah,
they did that. We finished top of the group. So the guys are hungry, and now it's about focusing them onto the red ball stuff. And we're excited to welcome Devon down to Walgrave on Sunday.
Yeah, I was going to mention the T20 there. You've said it yourself. I mean, you couldn't have come into this Championship with a better run of fixtures than what you've done in the T20. I mean, you've literally been, I'm not going to say unbeatable because that's the wrong phrase to use in T20 in particular, but you've looked so bloody strong all the way through. What do you think's the key to that one for you?
You know what? We've got some great players, but like, if you look at who's won our games, we've had all sorts of guys put their hands up at different times, and I think that's key. You know, I think if you're a team that sort of dips into the well with one player all the time, and if he fails, then, you know, you're going to struggle. But, you know, we've had performances right through the board. You know, all 11 guys that have played, I think we've got a squad of 13 that's played in the T20. We've moved around a bit, have all done their bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I have to take my hat off to Dan Lincoln. He's been incredible as a captain. I think the T20 format is one of the hardest ones as a captain because the pace of the game. You've got to get your bowling spot on. The changes are incredibly important, and Dan's been brilliant at that. And yeah, I'm excited for that Super 12s, but it's trying to refocus the boys now on to the longer form of the game, which, as you said at the beginning of the show, I agree with you. In my eyes, should be the pinnacle, the crown. You win that, and, you know, in my opinion, you're the best national county team because you can't fall asleep at any time in that 3-day stuff. You've got to be on it for 3 days.
Yeah, and you're going to play 4 3-day games. That's 12 days. If you get to the finals, another 4 days, then 16 days where you've got to be on it for 3 sessions every single day. You've got to be on it all the way through to get to West Bromwich Dartmouth in the first place. How key is it for you, looking at the fixtures? I think I'm right in saying this. You play 4 weeks back to back. You don't have this bye week in the middle. I personally think it's a huge advantage, but it's certainly a look at the draw to a certain extent.
I prefer it. I mean, you just get yourself into a rhythm. You know, otherwise you lose the guys for a weekend, and, you know, anything can happen there. But we will have to make a few changes through the year, just availability. You know, we've got a few older boys that are working, can't take the holiday, etc. But we've earmarked a couple of youngsters that are ready to step up. So it'll be exciting to see how they get on, because from my point of view, the red ball stuff will be an opportunity to give these guys a go. And hopefully they grasp it and grab that shirt. And we'll see more of them in the white ball stuff next year.
Yeah, and I think what's been key for me watching from the outside in this year in particular, the strength of Berkshire's second 11 has been really good, really good. You see players playing in the second 11, some of these games over the last few weeks, who've actually been playing in the first 11 the previous couple of Sundays as well. So that strength and depth is still there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I think that's the key to Berkshire. We've got so many really good kids that are trying to knock the door down, you know, and I think as a coach, it's brilliant, but you obviously have to have some hard conversations with people who are not going to make it, but, you know, or not make the match 12, etc. So at the moment, it's enjoyable, and I want that still to happen. I want the guys to be hungry, and we get in there. So this Devon game is important that we start on the right foot and get going straight away.
Yeah, and I think Devon are one of those sides that, yeah, I'm sure the guys who I know down there won't mind me saying, you don't know what's going to come from them. They've been a bit 50-50, bit in and out, but they're a strong side to say the least. And, you know, you've got a very strong group, I think, or division in the championship to battle against, with Herefordshire being the side that have come up, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when I played, Devon and Cheshire were the two guys that we used to lock horns with. So I always have the utmost respect for them. Mm-hmm. We had an incredible 50-over game against them where I think we chased down 327. So we understand that this is going to be a battle over 3 days, and we're going to have to be at our best if we want to win it.
Yeah, and how key is it choosing and working with the clubs that you're going to be working at to get the right grounds to go and play these games? You know, you're playing home games at Wargrave and you're playing a home game at Falkland, which I would always expect you to play one of those. How key is that to be able to say, these are our bases, these are where we want to make our fortress?
Well, going forward, I mean, you know, I've spoken to Neil Robinson, who's our performance director, and I said we need to earmark 3 or 4 grounds that we play most of our games at.
Yeah.
You know, there's no point in having home ground advantage if a lot of your players don't play there. You know, Falkland, obviously, the guys don't play on a Saturday there because of their league position. However, we just know that ground so well over the years. It's become a fortress for us.
Yeah.
And Wargrave is starting to be that. And we love Wargrave. We know what we're going to get there. It's going to be a good cricket wicket, hard, fast, bouncy. And that fits our profile. You know, if we, in my opinion, if we go on a really good cricket wicket, then our skills will shine.
Yeah, and you've got a good number of ex-Wargrave players in the side. You've got one Wargrave player, I think, in the side as well, but we've got no ex-Wargrave players. They know it inside out, that place, don't they?
They do. We're hoping to welcome Woodsy back after his broken thumb. So that'll be exciting. You know, he's been such a performer in national counties over the years.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be wrong of me to say, but in my opinion, probably one of the greats in the last 8 to 10 years. And I'm not taking away anything else from any of the other counties, but he would be definitely up there in the top 5 national county players. So to have his experience back, and when I say experience, he's only 26.
Exactly.
You know, so it just shows you how long he's been going. So we're hoping to have him back, and he's a Wargrave lad. So yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, you got it from that extreme of Woodsy, who seems to have been around forever, all the way to the other end, and I'm guessing we're going to see Mr. Richton still doing what Mr. Richton does, and you know he's proved it again. Even at he won't mind me saying this, Rishi, that at his age he can still put some bloody performances in, can't he?
Oh, I mean, we played Bedfordshire in that last T20, and I think his combined figures over the 2 T20s was 8 overs, 5 for 27. I mean, he's bowling up front in the power play and bowling at the death. He's quite incredible. You know, he's a superstar. You know, and for us, he leads that attack, and he's so important.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's always key in NCCA cricket. You do need 1 or 2 superstars. But you're all, you know, every single county is the sum of its parts, aren't they? You've all got these guys coming in, and you've all got these guys you say are, you know, buggering off to play twos cricket somewhere. And it's a bit of a juggling act for, as a coach, almost on a week-to-week basis, to know who you've got to have, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and you know, I think we're going to lose Ben Salter and Johnny Connell. But that, you know, from my point of view, that just opens up 2 spaces for other guys to come in and do well. You know, ideally, you know, and I don't say this lightly, but like I'd love those 2 to get signed. You know, I don't want to see them next year.
Absolutely.
You know, but yeah, that's the national counties will be poorer, but this is what national counties are about: is giving these guys opportunities to make sure that they end up in the professional game. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I was one of the big supporters of Johnny Connell all through last year. Dan Lincoln and myself talked about it. No, we both commented last December he was our single favourite cricketer in the world, Johnny Connell, and we just couldn't believe he wasn't being looked at by 1 or 2 of these counties. So to see him going the way he's going with Essex at the moment, to see the way Ben's going down at Hampshire, there's got to be 2, 3, 4 of these in every single national county, hasn't there?
Yeah, 100%. You know, and this is why we coach. You know, this is why we do it, to get, you know, make sure these guys get those opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guys behind them need to come and do the job. You know, so and that's what we expect from them. And they've, you know, I think young Connor Lambsdale will be making his debut for us, who's been on the Hampshire books. He's a Henley boy.
Yeah,
that'll be exciting for that young lad to come in and show what he can do for us.
Absolutely. Got to ask you as a coach, how easy was that decision when you got asked to come and take over at Berkshire?
Took 5 seconds. You know, when I saw Lambie had left, we had a conversation, and I put my name in the hat. And I think 2 days later they said, "Yes, please, come on." And you know what? I was trying to explain it to someone the other day. I don't miss playing cricket. But what I do miss is that dressing room and everything else. And when you're a coach, you get a bit of that. And obviously, they're all a lot younger. But, you know, and you feel every ball, and you want every wicket to happen. But it's just wonderful to be back in the game that I loved so much, and trying to make a difference to some of these kids coming through.
You must have watched that Freddie Flintoff one, because he said exactly the same this morning. I was listening to him. You know, the joy of being in that dressing room around it, the Lions and the under-19s, being able to pick a player out of inverted commas nowhere and say, right, you're coming with us down to Australia with the Lions, or to play against India with the under-19s. And sometimes it's a player that the numbers don't necessarily stack up, but as a coach, you're seeing something in them, aren't you? You're saying, hey, come on, we can do something with this.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, I'm not a big numbers man. I think character is one of the biggest things you can have, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you get character and the brain right, then everything else falls into place.
Yeah, it goes back to those 6 inches between those ears, doesn't it? Definitely. It's 8-9 years now since you played yourself full-time, inverted commas, you know, a full season. You say you obviously miss the dressing room, but do you just miss playing full stop and going out there and strapping them on and away you go?
Well, you say that. I mean, I live in Binfield, and I've been doing a bit of coaching there, and they've asked me to play a few midweek games. So I played about, I think it was 5 weeks ago. Played in a 2020 game. Opened the batting, did okay. Got 46 of 30 balls. The next morning, I could hardly walk. So I thought, you know what? So I think this is too much for me.
It sounds like you and Richard Logan are in that same path, aren't you? You've had a good few years out of it, but if we get a chance, we're going to jump back in.
Well, my boy's 12 at the moment. So,
exactly the same as Richard Logan.
Yeah, so he's at Binfield. So hopefully he comes through the levels there, and one day I'll put those whites back on and play in the 4s or the 5ths or whatever it is when he starts playing, and it'll be great to play with him.
Absolutely. Let's go back to the very beginning. You had a great career when it came to Berkshire. You had a great club cricket career, and there's nothing wrong with having a fabulous club cricket career at the level that you played at, and be able to play minor counties as it was back then before it became national counties. You played at the pinnacle for donkey's years there, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I was very lucky. I was at a great club at Henley for loads of years, captained them for 10 years. We won lots of home counties, Premier Leagues. And then I was with a bunch of boys that I captained at Berkshire, which was incredible. We were quite successful. To be honest, I think if we'd spent a little bit more time out the bars, we would have probably been more successful. I think we enjoyed ourselves a bit too much sometimes, especially on away trips.
Yeah.
But, I look back on my career, I won a 3-day comp. I won 2 one-day trophies and lost 1 final to Devon in 2008. So, hey, listen, if you can play at Lord's 3 times, it's how many people get to do that in finals?
Well, you've played at Lord's 3 times more than I've actually been to Lord's, so that says a hell of a lot in the first place. As a cricket nut, that people do find that quite strange. But you've got actually 2 List A bloody games on your books as well, because you did play the Cheltenham and Gloucester Trophies, it used to be called.
Yeah, that's right. I remember my first one was against Kent. I think Saggers got me out. I faced 20 balls and got 1, so it wasn't my best day. But the following year, we welcomed Gloucestershire to Reading, and I think I top scored with 43 or 44. And actually, to be honest, we should have won that game. Mm-hmm. We'd bowled really well. I think Lambert done really well in that game, and Nick Denning, blast from the past. And we'd restricted him to 187. And I think we were 120 for 3 or 4. Me and Julian Wood were going right, and then Upal Chandana just ran through us, and so it was a shame. Could have been a big upset if we'd got over the line there. But Absolutely. Those were great days.
Yeah, I think the obvious question is how good would it be to see that style of competition again with the national counties playing against the first class, as we have seen this year with the women's game?
I think we should do it. Yeah. I don't know whether it's a first class thing and they're a bit worried for getting upset, but I mean, we'd be quite happy to go to their grounds and play. I know they don't like coming to us, but we took a Berkshire team down to Sussex at Hove. They got 210 and we got 185. It was a good game, and it was all their blast players. It wasn't a sort of mixed academy team. We can mix it with them and we can play. And I think if we are serious about national counties providing players for the first class thing, the more games we play against them every year, the more important it becomes for these guys to know what they need to get to in that level and playing on those surfaces. And I think I spoke to Paul Farbrace after the game. He said, well, it was an incredible game. He said, we'll have you down again next year. It doesn't have to be a showcase game. We loved it. It was a good test for our cricketers. So why can't we be in the first round of the Metro Bank or whatever you want to call it, and see where it goes. But I'm not sure the ECB will want to do that. But the challenge is in there, but something like that, they deserve to be there. There's some great cricketers.
Yeah, absolutely. Last year, a good number of the NCCA counties beat first-class counties in that last full round of showcase games as we had them. And this year, it's been slightly different with the showcase games. But I remember saying to friends of mine the day after you'd been down to Sussex, just look at that scorecard. Just look at that Sussex team. And that's when you'll see the strength of national counties. And we all say this week in, week out on the show. National counties cricket is the best cricket you'll get to watch for free anywhere in the country on a Sunday, week in, week out throughout the year. And you guys prove it time and time again.
No, I totally agree. We're quite lucky. We get great support at Wargrave and Falkland. We get a lot of people through there. And you can see they enjoy it, especially that white ball stuff. It was very exciting. We had a few boys get hundreds. And I generally, when I walk around the boundary, there's a lot of supporters that go, geez, I can't believe the level of cricket. It is impressive, And I think we need to be showcased more, and whether it's a competition or whatever, whoever wins the 50 over comp goes into the Metro Bank or whatever. I don't know. Something like that should happen. It'd be a great thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. We love watching NCCA cricket for that reason. We know that we're going to see the Johnny Collins of this world, or the Tom Hinleys, who's now plying his trade for Worcester. They're going to come through. But it's picking up on those youngsters. It is picking up on the Ben Salters, and it is picking up on the guys who actually, the Conor Haddos of this world at Bucks, he's been with Northants in the past. He's had a few years out. He's back with them in the twos now. And, every chance he might end up with a contract, you don't know. But why not?
He should do. He's an incredibly skillful left-arm spinner. He's unbelievable. We've seen a lot of him this year. He's a wonderful bowler. Yeah. These guys deserve an opportunity.
Most definitely. And I think that's the joy of national counties. And one of the things we'll be saying on social media in the coming weeks is there's a couple of rounds of first-class championship games to come. Let's get them out of the way. But once you get to the end of July, we've got this great big space in August where the 100 occupies the whole of the first-class counties and that shebang. The only place you can watch red ball cricket is the 20 national counties, and we've got it for 3 days a week all the way through, haven't we?
Yeah, and it's brilliant. And it'll be the sort of back end of it, so it's exciting to see who's going to be at the top.
Absolutely. Have you had a look around one or two of the other counties? I've got to ask the obvious question. I just thought, there's someone that we do want to keep a close eye on as well. Or have you been doing that old coaches thing where we're going to just concentrate on what we do?
It's not like an old thing, but I honestly believe, I don't clip up other players or go use my analysts to say how good these guys are. My team talks are very simple. If we do what we know what we can do, and we hit our standards and we stay at those standards, we can beat most national counties. We are an incredibly talented team, but it's about making sure we look after ourselves and do what we need to do. I think you can get lost in the fact of going, well, look how well Conor Haddos bowled here, and you can show these guys in bowling balls that are pitching middle, hitting top of off, and your batter's thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to play him? Rather just think about how good we are. And I try to drive that point home to all my batters and bowlers.
Absolutely. I've got to ask the other question that I always ask everyone. You might have mentioned one of them already, but pick a player from Berkshire or elsewhere potentially, but mainly from Berkshire, who people might not have heard of yet and is going to come through and say, keep an eye on this one because this is a new player on the scene almost.
Ooh, that's tough. Charlie Dunnett. I know he's been around a bit, but he started this year incredible. We've given him a bigger role. He's always been a 6 or 7. I've put him up to 3 along the links, and I decided we're going to make sure that he's going to be our linchpin going forward. And I think he's already had a great season, already got a national county 100 in the 50 over comp, and I expect big things from him in the red ball stuff. So, and not just as a batter. I think he's going to have to do some work with his bowling as well because we'll be a few seamers short. So we expect to see Charlie put in an all-round effort, and he's the guy I tipped this year to be, hopefully, a little superstar.
Absolutely. I wouldn't disagree that slightest. He's had a great season all round, hasn't he? And he's really put it in at both at club level and at NCCA level. And that's the key, that we know that everyone who's going to be playing for you guys plays, generally, they all play on a Saturday. Generally, they all love that drive on a Saturday night, really do love it, to wherever they've got to go to the country. But when you've got a home game to start with, it makes it just a bit easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I remember whenever we started, if it was Cornwall, it's just that long drive on a Saturday night. So it's quite nice to be able to go for the first game. So we are excited.
Yeah, most definitely. Hey, looking forward to it ourselves. Can't wait to see how things crack off from this Sunday. We've got Championship cricket, 3-day cricket now, until the 3rd of August, when we've obviously got the Super 12s, and then we go back to the Championship. And then, fingers crossed, we might see you at West Bromwich Dartmouth for another 4-day final, Bjorn.
Oh, who knows? I mean, I'm not going to count the chickens just yet. Let's just see how we get on in that first game. Devon's going to be a hell of a game, tough opponent. So let's just get us going, and we'll see how it goes. We're all excited. And thank you so much for having me on this this podcast. Much appreciated, Ian.
Absolutely. Long way to go to West Bromwich, but we will be putting out there's going to be fixtures all over the country. national counties cricket. Get out there and watch it. Even if you're not living in a national county, I live in Staffordshire. So yeah, I've got to put my hands up and say I'm always going to be keeping an eye on that score, definitely. But at the same time, if you live in Essex or if you live in, let's pick one, Northampton, you've got a national county not very far away. That's the one to pick and that's the one to follow, I think, Bjorn, isn't it?
100%. And you'll be surprised at how incredibly good the cricket is.
Absolutely. Have a good one, mate. Enjoy the end of your trip and look forward to seeing how you get on Sunday after that flight back.
Thank you, legend. Cheers, Ian.
Cheers, bud.
Bye, mate.
Thanks for joining us at the Premier League Cricket Club. We'll be back soon with more from the world of Premier League and NCCA cricket. But in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review and follow us wherever you get your socials. Or maybe check out our website, premierleaguecricket.co.uk, to stay updated. Until next time, have a good one.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
When your company earns unlimited 2% cash back on all purchases with Capital One, that's serious business. So Stephen at SandCloud got a serious business card, the Spark Cash Plus card from Capital One.
We used our 2% cash back to help build our retail presence.
Savvy, Stephen.
And we get big purchasing power, so our business can spend more and earn more.
The Spark Cash Plus card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/SparkCashPlus.